Hello, I'm Jordan Bordner, and I'm with my partner Sabrina Silva, and this is our take on the shading design project. For a narrative, we chose to model the common room of Suite 514 and 610 Huntington Ave, which is the space that I have studied for the previous project. We chose this space because I had easy access to it as it's where I live, and I had already produced the floor plan for it during the previous project, which allowed me to make the model much easier. The plan that I had drawn up was already at half-inch scale, so all we had to do was print it out and measure to see how big the pieces of the model would be. For the walls, we used quarter-inch basswood. As with the scale that we were using, we could use one layer of it for the interior walls and two layers of it for the exterior walls. Because of the thickness of the material, we chose to laser cut them, which sped up the process and gave us a much more accurate cut. For the windows, we used 0.02-inch plexiglass that had 1/8 inch by 1/4 inch basswood mullions, which were painted silver, in order to reflect how, in real life, they are made out of aluminum. All of the interior walls were painted off-white, the same shade as the walls in the real room. And lastly, we made the ceiling, roof, and furniture out of 16th-inch chipboard. For the peephole, we were able to laser cut the exact outline of Sabrina's phone into the material so that we could take a picture through it without any obstructions. And real quick to talk about our shading device design, we chose to go with this really fine copper wire mesh, which allowed for a material that was at the same time semi-translucent as well as being able to shade and dampen the rays of the sun. And you'll see later on how it creates a much uh, uh, calmer hue, much more orangey hue inside. Uh, Now, to compare the real life to the model, on the left we have the model, we have the photo of the real room at 9 a.m., and on the left, the same thing, we have the model at 9 a.m., and we actually were able to get really close results. The lighting is very similar in both. Then we did a side by side of the space without the shade and then with the shade, and you can see how the brightness of the room is drastically lowered and the overall hue is made much more orangey, which is contrasting to without the shade where it had a much more white tone to it. And then here we brought it outside to do our harsh light study with our sundial. And here's the picture of it with the harsh light, very bright, very white, um, very hard on the eyes. But then once we add the shading device, it makes it much more orangey hue and a much calmer mood inside. And just to put them side by side, you can see how all of the harsh white light is removed, and it now the inside with the shading device, a space that is much more calming is created. So we found that our device did end up being successful in doing what we wanted. Thank you very much for watching our presentation.